today?
1st of June. So today I'm 34. Of course I don't feel like 34. I feel like I should be like 60 or 65. Because there were several times in my life when I felt like I was born again. I had many periods in my life and every period is so different. In Instagram I asked you to ask me questions about me and my personal life. Just to understand what would be interesting for you to know about me. I decided to divide this video into 2 parts. Today I'm just gonna talk more about biography facts, like maybe answer some of your questions about my life. And another type of questions I got was more philosophical part of life, my viewpoint on things. So I just decided to film that part a bit later. Okay, so let's go. I was born in 1984 in Russia, in a city called Chelyabinsk. I was born in a musical family. My dad was famous. He was touring a lot. He had a band called Ariel. They played Russian folk rock. And my dad was a bass player and a lead singer of this band, and he was a composer and arranger. Some people say that he looks like John Lennon a bit. That's his nose I have. My mom was working as a piano teacher for many years, so they met in music college. And then they had their first baby, that was my brother Oleg. He's 7 years older than me, so he's also a musician, so he was playing the piano since he was like, I don't know, 5 or 4 years old, touring with my dad and my mom before I was born. He got a lot from that musically, so he's now a great composer and musician and great pianist. He works on TV and he's creating his own music. He wants to do music for big movies. He also made many musics specifically for that my channel, so you probably have heard him already many times. If you want to check his music, I will leave the link down below. If you want to look at my mom, there's a video how I do makeup on her, so I'll leave the link down below. I've always loved beauty related things. I remember the time when I was a kid, I was trying my mom's makeup. The best smell for me was the smell of nail polish. When I saw adult women painting their nails red, my goal was to grow up as fast as possible. I started singing when I was a kid. When I was 4 years old, there was my first performance. You know where? You will never guess.
There was an anniversary of Wine Factory.
And I was singing 2 songs with a pianist in front of so many people there. Then I went to kindergarten. My dad was still touring. I was a very nervous child. Very often I was crying. I was very quiet. I was very accurate and neat. I had so many fears. Then I went to 2 schools, regular school and music school. I was playing the piano. And my studying in a regular school was awful. Like, I had so many bad marks. I didn't understand anything from the first word. I was one of the worst pupils out there in mathematics, everything that is very precise and scientific. And it's funny, but in English too. We had English lessons and I was the worst pupil. I didn't understand anything there. I was getting prepared for music college. The only thing I was doing it was music. I was singing at home. I was listening to the music. I was playing the piano. At that time, I loved Ella Fitzgerald. I loved Marilyn Monroe. I loved Whitney Houston. I loved ABBA. And I loved my dad's songs. And I was trying to sing like that. So opera vocals were not for me. Then I thought maybe I will become a pianist. To be a pianist, for me at that time, that was a very prestigious thing. When my parents showed me to great pianists out there, they said, she's not ready. Go to a conductor of a choir. So I was in that college as a conductor of a choir. At that time, I was singing a lot and I was drawing Marilyn Monroe because I loved her so much. I was drawing with a pencil. Actually, today is Marilyn's birthday too. When I fell in love with Marilyn Monroe, I didn't know that she was born at the same day with me. I desperately was trying to find a biography book of her. In the 90s, I didn't have internet or something like this, so that was my hobby. I was collecting things about Marilyn, her pictures, and then I was studying as a conductor of a choir. I needed an education, but at the same time there was something wrong with it. And then my arms hurt. I'm small, but my arms are pretty long for my body. My bones are pretty heavy and my arms are pretty heavy, so every time I was conducting, by the end of that, I had so much pain in my arms. However, I loved singing in a choir. There was something magical about this. We had hard times. My dad and his band, they split. My mom was very sick. She didn't understand what was going on. And I was kicked off in 2 years of that music college for good behavior. I never went to a disco, to clubs, drank alcohol, or I didn't like that. I didn't like drugs or tablets or pills or anything chemical. But yeah, my behavior was pretty strange for them. Now I understand that. I could sit and listen to the lecture, and then one crazy idea would come to my mind that I have to go and train whistling in a corridor because I need to try that very funny whistle. So I would just ask to go out. I would just go to the corridor and I would train my whistling, for example, like that. I can do it very silent and very, very high, like, or lower, like, I can do it very loud as well. Or I could bring balloons to class, just to make it more bright, and teachers didn't like that. I always had my own opinion. I never liked to be nice, but not feel it. Yeah, I don't know how to say this in English, just to not be sincere. So if I liked something, I could say this. If I didn't like something, I could say this, whether it's a teacher or anybody else. And they didn't like my straight viewpoint on things. I was very straight, I was very honest. Then we decided to move to Moscow with my family, because as far as my dad broke up with his band, he was still very famous. He had a lot of job here in Moscow to perform different shows, different events. I wanted to go to a music university as a jazz pop singer. In 2003, we went to Liverpool with my dad and my mom because my dad loved the Beatles very much. At that time, I was very far from rock music, and the Beatles were still kind of rock for me, too heavy. There's a festival in Liverpool called Beatle Week. That was the first time I've seen Europe, I've seen UK. I fell in love with that place, with that people, with that music, and I felt like, yeah, I also wanted do that. Around the same time, I went to international competition, vocal competition in Sochi. There were many nominations, and in my nomination, I got the first prize. And then out of all other nominations, first prizes, they chose one Grand Prix, and that was me. I was singing I Have Nothing But Whitney Houston. I was 18 years old. It was a huge winning moment for me. I believed much more in myself after that. And then I visited several other competitions. I won second prize in Macedonia. And approximately at the same time I started my university here in Moscow as a vocalist. It went also not very good because I didn't want to study. Now I love to study. Then in 2004, that was the first year when I went to Liverpool as a singer. They gave me 2 songs to sing. One of them was Here, There and Everywhere, and the other one was Rock and Roll Long Tail Sally, and that was the first time I shouted rock and roll. As a joke, I tried to duplicate Paul McCartney's voice in that song, and it was very raspy. I started shouting and screaming that song. This is how my rock love started, because first I loved singing rock, and then I started listening to it. When we were in Liverpool, I was performing there in many places. Then the director of the festival came to me and he said, if you're gonna sing the whole show yourself, I'm gonna invite you next year. Then my dad got a band, we made a program, and that's how I started going to Liverpool almost every year since then. And I had about like 5 to 10 gigs every year there in the places where Beatles used to play, in Cavern Club, in a theater, in open air. In 2005 or 6, there was an open air where like many thousands of people came. I was invited to be a part of a Summer of Love show with Hal Bruce. I was singing Janis Joplin. My brother gave me his old keyboards, so I was doing my own arrangements. I started doing cover songs. I did one cover of Chicago band. Chicago was one of my favorite bands. Niagara Falls was one of my favorite songs. And that was approximately that time when I met my husband. We had a mutual friends. I helped him with his work. Before I was, I think, 22, I didn't have any romantic relationship. I didn't want to. I was too scared of that. So I was living with my parents till I was about 25. Led Zeppelin tribute band asked me to join them, so I started singing Led Zeppelin. Woman, I think I'm gonna put you down. So my rock and roll habits got even heavier. I got into Led Zeppelin and I loved their music with all my heart, but only after I started singing them. I will share you some beautiful moments of my experience. Chris Slade, he's a drummer of AC/DC. He once came to my gig and he loved us, and he went on stage and he said, I want to play drums with you guys, and we played 3 Led Zeppelin songs. I was so happy to play with this drum machine. He's crazy. That's an amazing experience to play with those masters, you know? And then in several months, he just came to Moscow and I was invited to perform a gig with him. I also sang a song with Chick Corea. He's a jazz pianist. He won several Grammys. Also happy about this collaboration. And then when I was 25, me and my husband, he was my boyfriend then, we went to the United States because I was invited to perform on the festival there. I had several shows there. It was 2009. And then we got back home to Moscow. And then in November we got married. It's very funny because I've never had a dream about the wedding, about the dress, beautiful weddings and all that stuff. No, we were very busy up to 4 in the morning and next day we had to get married. We woke up 1 hour before we had to get married. I just brushed my teeth, cleaned my face, got my coat on. We didn't buy any rings. I don't like jewelry, so I never wear anything on me. And in 3 days we went to Caribbean, not for the honeymoon, but just because I was invited to perform there. And then in 2011 we went to the United States. We visited different places. We visited LA. We spent a lot of time in Florida. And then we went to Caribbean again because I was invited to perform there. We were back to Moscow. 2014, that's approximately that time when I just wanted to create more videos for YouTube on my music channel, but then I realized that I can't talk. Scared to talk. I'm not scared to sing, but I'm scared to talk. And I had somehow to confront that. I just wanted to feel okay in front of the camera. And I was very scared that people would laugh at me, especially in Russia. I got so much criticism since I was young, and it stopped me from moving forward, you know, in my music channel especially. Pushed me down, so I would stop, and 6 months of doing nothing, you know, just nothing. I was sitting home, playing computer games like that, like a robot, and doing nothing. When I trained more, I showed more, and then bam, lot of critics again. So that's why I decided to do beauty channel first of all, because I didn't kind of care too much about the critics there, because I'm not trying to be a professional in that field. I just wanted to be able to speak to people. And also I wanted to do it in English. I decided to never promote it among my friends. Nobody of my friends have ever known about my beauty channel. Just maybe the closest friends. That's how I did my first video about Marilyn Monroe makeup. I was sure that I will remove it. I just wanted to let it be on YouTube for some time, for a very short time. Just see how it goes. Maybe people will just tell me that I am a total shit and I should stop talking forever. Like, people were so nice to me. First I thought they were kidding. I drew a Cheshire cat, like I copied it from a very small picture, and then I put it on a frame, and then I keep it on my table wherever I go. I made it with just a black pen, and then I borrowed 2 markers, blue marker and pink. He's so confident and he's so not serious about life. So as soon as I get very, very serious, I know it's a wrong path. And I look at this guy and he's like, who are you trying to cheat? He's like waking me up. About a year ago, something happened to me and I started growing orchids. Before that, I didn't even notice the flowers. And first they didn't bloom. But then I found the technology, so they are blooming all the time now. And this guy is staying right there in my magic forest. And when I work, when I edit my videos, I just look on that beauty all the time. I sing for them. So in my channel, I started doing many transformations. So that drawing skills helped me to see the faces more and to understand how to correct them. I started watching lots of YouTube videos about makeup because I just wanted to look more beautiful. I just wanted to make pictures just to see how it works. I've seen many pictures of myself on stage and there were small things that I didn't like. I tried to be able to do it more professional. And I bought several makeup products. And after I made many transformations, I realized that I know much more about faces in general. This is how I started doing my contouring series. I'm still learning. I really would like to have more practice with other faces. In terms of my style, it has always been awful. First of all, I've never had any money. I think until I was 30, I didn't even earn the money. Sometimes, from time to time, this show, this gig, so I didn't have money to buy clothes. I wasn't able to experiment. And then I started watching YouTube videos about style. I watched a lot of them. I still didn't understand what works on me. And then I found one video of one Ukrainian stylist and he told about KB system. And he said that there's a lot of information in internet and I started looking. I couldn't buy a book because it was too expensive. So situation started going clearer. First, I couldn't make this test. because I always got different results. And then I made a picture of myself in bikini and I put it on my computer along with Marilyn Monroe picture, because we're at the same height. And then I realized that all the time I've been perceiving my body absolutely not as it was. I didn't know anything about my bone structure, about my flesh, about my proportions. And then I made a test again. And then I end up with soft gamine. And then I started reading the description and I felt like, yeah, that's me. And then I felt like, okay, I'm not gonna be a believer. I'm gonna be a trier. And then I started going to the shops and try to apply that information. I looked all the words in the dictionary. I really tried to understand what kind of fabrics he's talking about. I really tried to do my overall look based on that. And then I realized that this is exactly why these shirts are my favorite shirts. And these shirts I never liked actually to wear, but I felt like I have to wear them. You know that feeling? Now I'm still developing my wardrobe, but I'm much closer to my ideal wardrobe. I know how to shop on the internet very easy now. Even looking now on a piece of clothes, I already know how it's gonna look on me when I get it. And I started enjoying me. I stopped feeling not satisfied. I have a certain body type, I have a certain body structure, which goes absolutely along with my character, with my inner energy. I can say that I'm pretty passionate about style, clothes, and makeup, and beauty, and hair in general. But at the same time, I kind of don't care too much about this. I don't want to have a lot. I just want to have something that is the best for me. I'm trying to minimize this. I don't have any high heels, for example. I don't have any skirts. I'm trying to think about life as if I'm a traveler. I can go to an island. Would I take this with me? I'm not sure. Just change my life completely and just move from here. I would not be able to grab the whole room, right? Some of you asked me if I have kids. No, I don't have kids, but I really would love some kids. I love kids so much. My dad is still touring like crazy. He's performing everywhere, and recently he got back with his band. And this year it's 50 years of him on stage, the anniversary. Sometimes I sing with him, sometimes I help him with recording, sometimes he comes to my studio here to record here. I'm trying to promote my music channel now more. Also working on my solo album. I record instruments now myself. I try to mix it. I try to learn about how to do this my best. And I'm kind of working on my 2 channels at the moment. Somebody asked me what camera I use. I use Canon 650D. Don't know if you remember, 1 year ago in January, I made a video about lashes. Same mascara, different application. I think during 1 or 2 weeks I got 1 million views on that video, but most of the people who watched it was not my subscribers. And it was very funny because in the end of that video I asked for a donation. And many people were so offended by that because they were not my subscribers, so they didn't know that many people suggested me that I would ask for a donation. I had many small donations, so in 2 weeks I bought that camera. So that's because of you guys. You sponsored it, you gave me this camera, and I'm very happy about this. Thank you so much. After I made this makeup channel, first of all, I'm very happy that I made it in English. I was so happy to be able to reach girls from all over the world. India, Pakistan, England, Germany, Canada, Belgium, Scandinavian girls, Asian girls, Japanese girls. Most of the people who watch me are in the US, New Zealand, Australia, Philippines, Saudi Arabia. Actually, I visited Saudi Arabia. I really wish I had more time and more opportunities to travel all over the world and to see each and every one of you, to have a girly chat with you, to sit and drink tea and maybe some chocolate, talk about beauty, maybe do some hair for you, do your makeup. I don't know, like I feel so much passion for that, you know, just to see that the girl, who she is, where she lives. It doesn't matter what she has, what's her passion in life, what she likes. By the way, guys, I really love chocolate from different countries. I will leave my address down below. If you ever want to send me a chocolate from your native country, that would be the greatest gift for me. This is the greatest gift. If there is anyone who has birthday on the 1st of June, happy birthday. I love you guys very much. Thank you for being with me. Bye.